Bill Anderson, you chased a story about a pit bull that was shot and killed by a police officer who was responding to a call about a dog. What do you got?
Guys, this is Nina Pisozio and her pit bull, Bentley George. This week, Bentley was shot 3 times and killed by a Howell Township police officer responding to a report that Bentley had attacked someone. I spoke to Nina. She didn't want to go on camera, but she did tell me that Bentley was not an aggressive dog. The attack that they were talking about was actually a scratch someone received that didn't even require medical attention, and she thinks that even though Bentley did allegedly charge the police officer, she thinks that the dog was prematurely shot and killed because the dog was a pit bull and the officer was afraid of the dog. There have been several cases across the country where police have shot and killed dogs, mostly pit bulls, so much so the Department of Justice even put out an entire video teaching police officers how they should interact with dogs when they go on a call. If you look at pictures of Bentley from his days as a puppy, it paints a picture of a loved dog. He seems to be well adjusted to people. But I spoke to Chief Buddy Amato from the Monmouth County SPCA. He said the dog may not have been aggressive, but he told me no cop wants to shoot a dog, but the officer did what he had to do in this particular situation. He said it's unfortunate, but he doesn't see the officer having any other options and says he would have done the same thing and he would have felt as awful about it as he believes the officer does.
Did you talk to the police?
We reached out to the police. They did issue a comment that said that the officer was being approached by the dog, the officer acted in a way that was appropriate, and ultimately the officer had to protect himself. Social media comments have represented both sides of the argument, some saying the police dramatically overreacted, some saying the dog should have been secured. When I spoke to Nina, she said she's going to continue to try and get people to realize that pit bulls are just dogs like any other dog, and society's fear is what ultimately led to Bentley being killed.
Well, someone called the police, right, because they had been allegedly hurt by this dog. So I got a feel for the cop. I mean, he did what he had to do. I can't imagine he wanted to do that, and he's probably feeling absolutely awful right now.
All of us have our own opinions of pit bulls, but if you look at this video that the Department of Justice put together, there are apparently a lot of different ways that you can separate yourself from a dog. They suggest that you have food when you respond to a dog call. Throw the food. Put something between you and the dog. You know, recognize that a dog doesn't understand freeze or halt commands, and if you're going onto their property, the dog may in fact charge. So Nina's argument was there should be more preparation if you're responding to a dog.
You know, I have a pit bull, and I can tell you, it's on the owner. You got to keep your dog secure. You got to keep your dog in the house. Especially, I want to know what happened between the time that somebody allegedly got hurt by Bentley and the time that the police officer arrived on the scene. How was it still chaotic enough that the dog would be out charging him? Did the officer get hurt?
The officer did not get hurt. The dog did not get to the officer. I think that the tragedy here, and even Nina acknowledged this, nobody actually knows what the officer was thinking. The officer was responding to a dog attack call, so that was in their mind. But should officers going forward have better training on what you may come up against when you come onto a property and dealing with a dog that doesn't know you're a police officer?
Make common sense.